I, 27F, saw messages on my fiances, 29M, iPad calling me a safe bet, and now I'm questioning my entire existence. I honestly don't even know how to start this, so I apologize if this feels scattered. My hands are still shaking a little bit as I type this, and my head feels like it's stuffed with cotton and broken glass all at the same time. My fiancé, Liam, and I have been together for 2 years. We've lived together for the last 8 months. On paper, and even in reality, up until about 4 hours ago, things have been mostly normal. More than normal, actually, they were good. We are engaged, the wedding planning is in full swing, and the save the dates are literally sitting in a neat stack on the kitchen counter, waiting to be mailed tomorrow. We never had the kind of volatile relationship my friends complained about. No screaming matches, no suspicious late nights, no major issues that I ever flagged as deal breakers. We were steady. We were the couple people called comfortable. I realize now that comfortable might have meant 2 very different things to us. Earlier today, I wasn't feeling great. It started as a tickle in my throat and evolved rapidly into a full-body ache that left me glued to the mattress. Liam was sweet about it before he left for work. He made me tea, kissed my forehead, and told me to rest. Because we don't have a TV in our bedroom, a mutual decision to keep the room a sanctuary. Ironically, he left his iPad on the nightstand so I could watch movies while I drifted in and out of sleep. We barely even use the iPad. It's a relic from his old job, mostly gathering dust or used for the occasional recipe. I don't think he's touched it in weeks, which is probably why he didn't think twice about leaving it with me. Around 2 p.m., I was deep into a mindless binge of The Office, just letting the background noise comfort me. I was lying on my side, half asleep, the iPad propped up against a pillow. Then the notification started. It wasn't just a single ping. It was a barrage. A blue bubble dropped down from the top of the screen, obscuring Michael Scott's face. Then another. Then another. They were coming from Marco, one of Liam's close friends from college. Marco is the kind of guy who thinks being loud is a personality trait, a perpetual frat boy despite pushing 30. I've always tolerated him, because he and Liam go way back, but I never liked him. I kept swiping them away. I wasn't trying to snoop. I have never been that girl. I respect Liam's privacy, and honestly, listening to Marco rant about his fantasy football league or whatever they talk about was the last thing I wanted to do while fighting a fever. But the messages were coming in so fast that the swipe gesture lagged. I went to clear a notification just as a new one popped up under my finger. I tapped it. The video player minimized, and the iMessage app slid into full view. And yet, I wish I hadn't seen it. I wish I could go back to this morning, when my biggest problem was a sore throat and a caterer who was overcharging for appetizers. Before I tell you what the messages said, I think some background about me matters here. Context is everything. I'm not conventionally attractive. I know that. I'm not saying this in a self-pitying way or fishing for compliments. I'm actually pretty realistic about it and generally fine with how I look. I have strong features, I'm not thin, and I don't have that effortless, photogenic quality that seems to be the default for so many women in our social circle. But I've been treated differently my whole life because of it. It's a specific kind of invisibility. In high school, I was the funny friend. In college, I was the wingwoman. I was the girl guys talked to about their crushes, never the crush itself. You develop a thick skin, sure, but you also develop a radar. You learn to listen to the silence between the compliments. When I met Liam, he shattered that radar. He made me feel seen. He never made backhanded compliments. He looked at me with this warmth that I thought was genuine love. He proposed on a hike, just the 2 of us, telling me that I was his rock and the most beautiful person he knew. I believed him. I let my guard down for the first time in my life because I thought, finally, someone sees me. So what I ended up seeing on his iPad didn't just hurt my feelings. It dismantled my entire reality. The conversation with Marco wasn't about football. It was about the bachelor party planning, which somehow segued into a discussion about marriage in general. Marco had sent a message saying, "Man, I don't know how you're doing it. Locking it down this early. No offense, but you could have held out for an upgrade, right? You used to pull 8s and 9s back in the day." My heart hammered against my ribs. I sat up, the dizziness from the flu forgotten. I stared at the three bubbling dots indicating Liam was typing. Liam's response was right there, in blue. I know, man. But look at the big picture. The 8s and 9s are headaches. They cheat, they're high maintenance, they want her money. My name is safe. She worships me. I never have to worry about where she is, or who she's talking to. She's grateful just to be here. I felt the blood drain from my face. I reread it. She's grateful just to be here. Marco replied with a laughing emoji. The safe bet strategy. Respect. Just make sure you can look at her across the table for the next 40 years without wishing you banged the bridesmaid. Liam wrote back. That's what the bachelor party is for, LOL. But seriously, I love her.
She's great.
It's just a trade-off. I traded looks for loyalty. It's a smart investment. A trade-off. A smart investment. I didn't scream. I didn't throw the iPad. I just set it down gently on the nightstand, walked into the bathroom, and vomited. The drive to my sister's house is usually 20 minutes. That night, it took me 45 because I had to pull over twice. I was shaking so hard the steering wheel felt like it was vibrating out of my grip. My fever was spiking again, burning behind my eyes, but the physical sickness felt like a distant echo compared to the rot in my stomach. When I got to Sarah's, I didn't even have to speak. She opened the door, took one look at my face, pale, sweaty, eyes swollen shut, and pulled me inside. Sarah is my older sister, and she has always been the bulldog of the family. While I was the peacekeeper, she was the enforcer. I sat on her couch, wrapped in a blanket, and told her. I couldn't even say the words safe bet without choking. I had to show her the picture I took of the iPad screen with my phone. I watched her read it. I watched her expression shift from confusion to shock, and then to a cold, terrifying rage. He said you were grateful just to be there? She whispered. I nodded. Because I'm not an 8 or a 9. Sarah stood up and walked to the kitchen. I heard the distinct sound of a glass shattering in the sink. She came back a moment later, wiping her hands on a towel, her jaw set. You are never going back there. If he comes here, I'm calling the cops. If he calls you, I'm answering. The next 24 hours were a blur of misery. I slept fitfully, waking up every hour checking my phone out of habit. The notifications were relentless. Liam wasn't just texting, he was conducting a symphony of manipulation. Phase 1. Denial and minimization. Hours 1 to 12. Babe, you're being irrational. It was a joke. Marco is an idiot, you know that. Why are you letting Marco dictate our happiness? Come home. Let's talk about this like adults. Phase 2. The guilt trip. Hours 12 to 24. I made your favorite soup. It's getting cold. The save the dates are sitting here. Do you want me to throw them out? Is that what you want? To throw away $50,000 and 2 years over a text? You're punishing me for a moment of weakness. Everyone vents. Phase 3. The love bombing. Hours 24 to 36. This was the hardest part. Flowers arrived at Sarah's door. A massive bouquet of white lilies, my favorite. The card read, to my beautiful girl. I'm sorry I'm an idiot. Please let me fix this. He sent me a voice note. He was crying. Actually sobbing. My name, please. I can't sleep in this bed without you. I know I said stupid things, but I was just trying to sound cool.
I'm pathetic. Okay.
I'm an insecure guy trying to impress a frat bro. It had nothing to do with you. You're the love of my life. Please don't leave me alone. I listened to it 3 times. A part of me, the weak part, the safe bet part, wanted to believe him. I wanted to believe that he was just a dumb guy making dumb jokes. I wanted my life back. I wanted to put on my wedding dress and pretend I never saw the man behind the curtain. But then I remembered the specific phrasing. Smart investment. Trade-off. You don't use economic theory to describe the love of your life. You use it to describe a used Honda Civic that you bought because it gets good gas mileage, even though you really wanted the Mustang. I looked at myself in Sarah's guest room mirror. My hair was a mess, my nose was red from crying, and I looked exhausted. Is this it? I asked myself. Is this the face of someone who should be grateful just to be chosen? I turned off my phone. I didn't reply. That silence was the loudest thing I've ever done. Update 1. It's been 4 days since I left the apartment, and honestly, it feels like 4 years. First, thank you to everyone who commented on the original post. The term negging came up a lot, as did narcissism, but honestly, the phrase that stuck with me most was someone who said, "He didn't choose you. He hired you for the role of wife because the salary was low." That broke me, but I needed to hear it. Here is what has happened in the last 96 hours. The confrontation via phone. I finally picked up the phone on the second day. I put it on speaker so Sarah could hear. "Babe, finally," he breathed out. "Please, just come home. The apartment is empty. I haven't slept." "I don't care if you've slept, Liam," I said. My voice was surprisingly steady. "I care that you think I'm a trade-off." "I told you," he said, his voice dropping into that soothing, patronizing tone he uses when I'm anxious. "Marco is a pig. I have to speak his language to get him off my back. If I tell him I just love you, he calls me whipped." I was just playing the game. "So, you call me ugly to look cool in front of Marco?" "I never used the word ugly," he shouted. "I said I traded looks." "That doesn't mean you're ugly. It means, look, society has standards, okay? And maybe we aren't Brad and Angelina, but we're real. I value real." "You said I was grateful just to be here." I reminded him. "Do you know how small that makes me feel? You think I'm with you because I have no other options." There was a long silence. Then he said, "Well, be honest, my name. We have a good life. Better than most. Why ruin it over semantics?" Sarah grabbed the phone from my hand and hung up. "He's not sorry," she said. "He's just mad his appliance stopped working." The mother, this is where the spice kicks in. Yesterday, I got a call from Liam's mother, Sharon. Now, Sharon and I have always been cordial. She's a very proper Southern woman who cares deeply about appearances. I thought she liked me. I picked up, thinking maybe she wanted to apologize for her son. "Sweetheart," she started. "Liam is a mess. He's devastated." "I'm sorry he's upset, Sharon, but..." "Now listen to me." She cut me off. "Men talk. They say stupid, crude things to each other. Your father used to say things that would curl your hair. But you don't look behind the curtain. You look at the ring on your finger and the home he provides." I was stunned. "Sharon, he told his friend he settled for me because I'm a safe bet and wouldn't cheat." "And isn't there comfort in safety?" she asked. I could practically hear her sipping her Chardonnay. "Look, let's be realistic. Liam is a very handsome man. He has a high-paying job. He chose you. You need to stop letting your insecurities dictate your future. Do you really want to be single at almost 30 because of your ego?" I hung up on her too. The discovery, this is the part that is making me physically ill. Since I have access to our shared phone bill, I handle the finances, ironically, because I'm the responsible safe bet. I decided to look at the logs. He wasn't just texting Marco that day. On the day I was sick, and for weeks prior, there were hundreds of texts between him and a number I didn't recognize. And late-night calls.
1 Uhr nachts. 2 Uhr nachts.
I ran the number. It belongs to a woman named Jessica. I spent the 24 hours before the coffee shop meeting doing something I'm not proud of. I went full FBI. Knowing Jessica's name and having her Instagram handle wasn't enough. I needed to know timeline. I needed to overlay his late nights at the office with her digital footprint. It didn't take long. 3 weeks ago, Liam told me he had a client dinner that ran late. He came home smelling like gin and expensive cologne, too tired to talk. I remember I had warmed up leftovers for him, and he just waved them away and went to bed. I scrolled back on Jessica's Instagram. 3 weeks ago, on that exact date, she posted a story highlight. It was a boomerang of 2 gin and tonics clinking together at the Avery, a bar downtown. In the corner of the frame, just barely visible, was a sleeve. A gray suit jacket with a distinct navy blue watch face. I walked to the closet in Sarah's guest room where I had shoved the few clothes I brought with me. I didn't have the suit, obviously, but I knew that watch. I bought it for him for his birthday. I zoomed in until the image pixelated. It was undeniable. I sat on the floor, clutching my phone. It wasn't just the cheating. It was the comparison. I looked at Jessica's profile. She was vibrant. She hiked in sports bras. She posted photos of herself at festivals with glitter on her face. She was everything I wasn't. I am quiet. I like books. I wear cardigans. I hate loud music. For 2 years, Liam told me he loved my quietness. He told me my gentle nature was what he needed after a lifetime of chaotic women. Now, looking at Jessica's profile, a chaotic, loud, vibrant woman, I realized he didn't love my nature. He just loved that my nature didn't challenge him. He loved that I was boring enough to stay home while he went out to client dinners with women like Jessica. Then there was the logistical nightmare. The caterer emailed me asking for the final head count. The florist needed approval on the centerpieces. My phone was buzzing with the mundane details of a celebration that was already dead. I had to call the dress shop. My dress, a custom-altered A-line that hid my hips and accentuated my waist, the dress that made me feel like maybe, just maybe, I could be beautiful, was ready for pickup. "Hi, this is my name," I told the seamstress, my voice cracking. "I won't be picking up the dress." "Oh, is there a scheduling conflict?" the cheerful woman asked. "No," I said. "There's no wedding." "Oh, honey," her voice dropped. "I'm so sorry. Do you want to consign it?" "Burn it," I wanted to say. "No, just keep it. Donate it. I don't care." I hung up and cried for an hour. That dress was the physical manifestation of my hope. It was the armor I was going to wear to prove to everyone, to Liam, to his mother, to myself, that I was worthy of being a bride. Now, it was just a pile of expensive lace that belonged to a safe bet. That night, before the meeting, I printed the phone logs. I also printed the screenshot of the gin and tonic. I put them in a manila folder. It felt heavy in my hands. It felt like a weapon. Sarah drove me to the coffee shop. She parked the car so she could see through the window. "If he touches you," she said, checking her rearview mirror, "I'm going in there with a tire iron." "He won't touch me," I said, staring at the folder. "He's a coward. Cowards don't fight. They bargain." I took a deep breath, opened the car door, and walked into the lion's den. Update 2. Buckle up because this got messy. I met Liam at a coffee shop near our apartment. I didn't want to go to the apartment and I didn't want him at Sarah's. I wanted witnesses. When he walked in, he looked terrible. Unshaven, dark circles. For a split second, my heart hurt for him. That muscle memory of loving someone doesn't just vanish, even when you hate them. But then he sat down and tried to take my hand, and I pulled away like he was radioactive. "I'm glad you agreed to meet," he said. He had a speech prepared. I could tell. "I've been going to therapy." Well, I booked an appointment. I realized I have a fear of vulnerability, and I push people away by devaluing them. Therapy speak. Weaponized therapy speak. "Who is Jessica?" I asked. He froze. The rehearsed speech died in his throat. "Who?" "Jessica. The intern. The one you've been texting until 2 a.m. The one who looks exactly like the 8s and 9s you told Marco were headaches." He turned a shade of gray I didn't know humans could achieve. He started stuttering. She's a colleague. She's having a hard time with the project management software. I was mentoring her. Mentoring her at 2 a.m. on a Saturday? She works late. She's driven. I pulled out the printed phone logs and slapped them on the table. "Liam, stop. I am not the safe bet anymore. I am the woman who is about to torture your reputation if you lie to me one more time. Tell me the truth. Did you cheat?" He looked at the papers, then at me. His shoulders slumped. The arrogance evaporated, replaced by something pathetic. "I tried to," he whispered. The air left my lungs. "What?" "I tried," he said, looking at the table. "We went out for drinks after work a month ago. Everyone went home, but I stayed. I bought her drinks. I made a move. I told her my engagement was rocky. I told her I wasn't happy. And she laughed at me," he said, his voice bitter. "She told me I was too old and mid-management energy. She said she doesn't date guys who are spoken for, and especially not guys who try to cheat." I sat there, processing this. So, I said slowly, you didn't choose me because of loyalty. You didn't choose me because I'm safe. You came back to me because the 9 rejected you. And then you texted Marco to make yourself feel better, to pretend that you were the one who made the choice to avoid headaches, when really, the headache didn't want you. He didn't say anything. He just looked miserable.
You are so small, I said.
It wasn't epiphany. He wasn't a monster. He was just a small, insecure man who needed to put me down to feel tall. You came home to me, let me cook for you, let me plan our wedding, all while resenting me because I was the consolation prize. No, he reached for me again. It made me realize what I had. After she rejected me, I realized how good you are to me, how you never treat me like that. That's why I said you were safe. I meant it as a compliment. That is not a compliment, Liam. That is you using me to lick your wounds. I stood up. The wedding is off. I'm contacting the vendors today. I will be by with movers on Saturday to get my things. Do not be there. You can't do this, he hissed, looking around at the other patrons who were starting to stare. We have deposits down. My parents have booked flights. You're going to embarrass me over a drunken mistake that didn't even happen? I'm not embarrassing you, I said loud enough for the barista to hear. You embarrassed yourself when you tried to cheat on your fiancé and got rejected by a 22-year-old. I walked out. I got in Sarah's car, and for the first time in a week, I didn't cry. I felt lighter. You would think that walking away was the end. It was actually just the opening shot of the war. The day after the coffee shop meeting, I formally canceled the venue. That triggered an automatic email to Liam, since his email was on the contract too. That was the match in the powder keg. Within 2 hours, my phone began to vibrate with a different kind of notification. It wasn't Liam. It was our friends. Hey, Liam just called me. He sounds suicidal. He said you found a text message joke and blew it out of proportion? Are you okay? You're acting kind of manic. That was from Jen, a woman I considered a close friend. Look, I know wedding stress is crazy, but accusing him of cheating because he has a female coworker is a bit much, don't you think? He loves you. That was from Mike, Liam's best man. He had gotten ahead of the narrative. He knew I would cancel the wedding, so he preemptively struck. He spun a story where I was the villain. In his version, I was the paranoid, insecure, jealous girlfriend who went through his phone, found innocent banter, and had a psychotic break because I couldn't handle the pressure of the wedding. He weaponized my own insecurities. He told everyone, she's always been insecure about her looks compared to mine, and she just snapped. It was brilliant. It was evil. And it was working. I lost 3 friends that first week. They didn't even ask for my side. They just bought his sad, heartbroken fiancé act hook, line, and sinker. Then came the financial threats. A letter arrived at Sarah's house. Not an email, a certified letter on legal letterhead. It was from a lawyer friend of Liam's. It demanded that I reimburse Liam for $15,000, half of the lost deposits. It cited breach of promise to marry, which is barely a real thing in our state anymore, but it sounds scary. It also demanded the immediate return of the engagement ring, or face a lawsuit for conversion of property. I sat at Sarah's kitchen table, reading the letter. He wants me to pay him for the wedding he ruined, I said, disbelief washing over me. Sarah snatched the letter. We need a lawyer. A real one. Not his frat brother, who passed the bar on the 3rd try. We found a lawyer. She was expensive, but she was sharp. She looked at the letter and laughed. This is intimidation, she said. He can't sue you for deposits if he's the one who committed infidelity. Even attempted infidelity breaks the contract of trust. But the ring you have to give back. I don't want it, I said. It burns my finger. Good. Send it back. But we need to stop the bleeding on your reputation. If he's telling people you're crazy, and this affects your professional life or social standing, that's defamation. I don't want to sue him, I said. I just want everyone to know the truth. Then tell them, the lawyer said. You have the evidence. You have the texts where he admits to the safe bet comment. You have the admission of the Jessica situation. Truth is an absolute defense against libel. I went home and thought about it. I looked at the messages from Jen and Mike. I looked at the pile of wedding invitations that I now had to burn. I realized that keeping the peace was just another way of being the safe bet. Staying quiet let him win. Staying quiet let him rewrite history. I wasn't going to be quiet anymore. Sarah and I spent 3 hours drafting the post. We redacted Jessica's last name. She's a victim in this too, honestly. We organized the screenshots chronologically. We created the truth bomb. I hovered my finger over the post button on Facebook. My heart was racing. This was nuclear. This was burning the village to save myself. Do it, Sarah said. I pressed the button. The smear campaign, this is the part that hurts. Liam got ahead of the narrative. He told our mutual friends, his family, and anyone who would listen that I was insanely jealous and paranoid. He told them I went through his phone, misinterpreted a joke, and had a mental breakdown because of my deep-seated insecurities about my looks. He used my own vulnerability against me. He painted me as the crazy, ugly girl who couldn't believe a handsome guy loved her, so she self-sabotaged. I started getting texts from our friends. Liam is heartbroken. You really need to work on your self-esteem. I can't believe you'd throw this away because you felt insecure. Even my own cousin texted me saying I should go back to therapy and stop punishing Liam. I was ready to just block everyone and move to a cave. But Sarah? Sarah wasn't having it. He wants to play dirty? Sarah said, cracking her knuckles. Let's play dirty. We drafted a mass email. Well, not an email. A Facebook post. But we set the privacy to friends only so it wouldn't go viral globally. Ironic, posting here, I know, but it would hit everyone in our circle. I posted the screenshots. I posted the text with Marco where he called me a safe bet and a trade-off. I posted the texts where he admitted to the Jessica situation. I managed to get him to admit it via text after the coffee shop meeting by playing dumb. I captioned it, I am not leaving Liam because I am insecure. I am leaving him because he views our relationship as a financial investment where he traded, looks for loyalty. I am leaving because he tried to cheat with a subordinate, got rejected, and then used me to soothe his ego. I am nobody's safety net. I am nobody's consolation prize. Please respect my privacy as I heal. The fallout, the reaction was instantaneous. Marco, the friend, actually commented on the post. Bro, you told her I said that? You threw me under the bus. Shows you where his loyalty lies. Liam's aunt commented. Oh my God. The friends who told me to work on my self-esteem started apologizing profusely. I had no idea. He told us a completely different story. Liam called me 7 times in 10 minutes. I blocked him. Then, he showed up at Sarah's house. He was banging on the door, screaming that I had ruined his reputation, that I had humiliated him at work. Apparently he's friends with coworkers on FB. Sarah opened the door, holding her German shepherd by the collar. She said 3 words. Police. Or leave. He left. The aftermath, I moved into a new apartment yesterday. It's small. It's a studio. It doesn't have a granite island or a soaking tub. But it's mine. I'm currently sitting on the floor eating pizza. I'm down about $8,000. I lost a fiancé. I lost a friend group. I cut off anyone who believed him without asking me. And I'm exhausted. But I looked in the mirror today. Really looked. I saw the strong features I used to hate. I saw the body that isn't a size 2. And for the first time, I didn't see a safe bet. I saw a survivor. I saw a woman who refused to let a man dim her light just so he could shine brighter. I'm not safe anymore, Liam.
I'm Dane Heddes.
Because I know my worth. Final update, 6 months later. Hi, everyone. It's been a while. Apparently, he's miserable. He's complaining to friends that she spends all his money and is constantly flirting with other guys. He posted a status the other day about missing the simple times. I laughed so hard I choked on my coffee. The closure, I ran into Marco at a bar last week. I thought he would be a jerk, but he actually looked embarrassed. He came up to me and said, Hey, for the record, I was being an idiot in those texts. But Liam, he said worse stuff in person. You dodged a bullet. It was a weird moment of validation from the least likely source. To anyone reading this who feels like the safe bet, If you feel like you have to be extra grateful, extra domestic, extra low maintenance just to keep a partner because you think they are out of your league, run. Love is not a trade-off. It's not a market exchange of looks for loyalty. You are not a stock to be shorted. I'm not a safe bet. I'm a jackpot. And Liam folded right before the payout. Thank you all for listening, for the anger, and for the support. I'm logging off this account for good. I have a life to live. And that is the final update for the safe bet saga. Honestly, reading this made my blood boil, but I want to know what you guys think. Do you think Liam actually learned his lesson, or is he just mad he got caught? And would you have exposed him on Facebook like she did? Let me know your verdict in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you want more tea like this. I'll see you in the next one.